I don't know how long I want to talk about this because I'm getting a raging headache just even elaborating on this. Like, literally, people's brains have not developed past pre-kindergarten. People don't have any sort of media literacy. People lack reading comprehension. It's not hard to read an article and say, hey, this is bullshit, because in the meantime, in the contents of that article, the title is going to be made to be clickbaity, to get your attention, to get you angry, and then in the contents itself, everything sounds normal, okay, peachy king. And I can't understand for the past like 7 years how people have not caught on to this premise that journalistic integrity is fully shit. And I just wish that it died someday, but that's just my opinion. Overall, what am I talking about? I'm talking about the idea that, game journals, I think it conjured up from IGN. You can't spell ignorant without IGN. It conjured up from them or whatever, but I know a lot of journals ran with this. They decided to put out a hit piece on Callisto Protocol, heavily anticipated game. It was the Dead Space successor before Dead Space Remake was even announced and confirmed. I remember when it was just Callisto Protocol and that's it. Anyway, they decided to say, hey, there's going to be death animations locked behind paywall DLC that you have to buy down the line in order to have these death animations in the game. Now, naturally speaking, if you have prior knowledge to Callisto Protocol, you would know there is a season pass of single player content that you're going to get. So obviously new weapons, skins and whatnot, and then you get a whopping story DLC, a brand new expansion of Callisto Protocol. For some reason, it got lost in translation and folks said, hey, this is going to equate to paywalled death animations that you have to unlock in the main single player game by paying for it. And this was utterly stupid. This was utterly dumb because, once again, journos, they don't care about your morals or any shit like that, your grandstanding morals. They care about you clicking on that article and looking at it like a dummy. Inside the actual article, and due to the prior information that we have, this means that, we're getting new animations in story DLC. So that's going to be brand new developed content for Callisto Protocol. New monsters, is going to be new monsters, new weapons, new characters, probably a whole new scenario going on, and I don't see the problem with the things that Glenn Schofield stated here. When you get a new DLC, of fucking course you're getting new creatures and new death animations in a survival horror game. That comes par for the course. I have the ultimate example. You guys remember the Evil Within 1 DLC where you played as Julie Kidman, and the first DLC was called The Assignment? Well, there is a monster in there called the Shade, and you see she has this like giant shawl and long legs and a lamp head, and she will search around for the player, and if you get spotted by her, you get killed in an instant death animation. All of that stuff was new. Sebastian does not encounter this creature whatsoever in the main campaign. This is exclusive only to Julie Kidman. And it's things like that where that was an entirely new harrowing experience that wasn't in the main campaign. I can see if it was a reuse thing, like you could say the Keepers and RE5 is like a reuse asset of the Executioners, where they kill Chris and Jill with one hit, but you could be killed with a hammer by the Executioner, that whole bit. This was something completely new, original, and different, and I haven't played the Consequence, but I'm sure there could be enemies in there that probably weren't in the main game. That entirely new experience, that entirely new addition meant something to that DLC. So I can't just call it lazy if they decide to do something completely new and scary for us. When you put two and two together, it really makes no sense how people thought this was going to be something you have to pay for in the main campaign. Once again, and there's nothing wrong with, in my opinion at least, there's nothing wrong with monetarily supporting story DLC if it adds a lot more to the game. If they basically say, hey, this story is grandiose, expansive, this level is completely new and different, these characters are new, these monsters are new, you know what I mean? A fucking new coat of paint to gameplay you already loved and the established main campaign. That's what you're getting here. And people took that and they ran a quarter mile straight to the shitty touchdown to the end zone. Bam, misinformation collected. So people were getting upset about this, and I don't understand why. Like, if you read the season pass, you know this. If you go to the store page, you would know this with the differing versions between deluxe and regular. And it's only like, what? I paid like $84, so of course it was like $70 with tax. So that's like, you know, nothing. Like, there's some fighting games where you pay for like fucking 3 season passes of content, maybe 4 at most. Like, there's more egregious notions out there in the gaming stratosphere, and obviously I'm not gonna knock this entirely, because I'm of the opinion where, like, when you really enjoy a game a lot and it's getting more content and it's priced well, you know what I mean, you're gonna want more of that said thing. I had no problem saying that I paid for the RE5 gold editions because I wanted more of that content. More of it appealed to me. I liked the base game enough to say I'm supporting the dev. Now, if it's way too fucking overpriced for what they give you, like, imagine them giving you, like, I want to say a 2-hour campaign for $80. That's crazy, right? Let's put out the hypothetical first. That's absolutely crazy. However, at the same time, I think Glenn has a good head on his shoulders, and it's not the first time he's gotten into deep water just by saying he worked very hard with his team. They like working hard, and then people just equated that to, oh, mumbo jumbo, now you do crunch, so you're the ops, you're the enemy, right? And it's just like, holy shit. Like, I don't, this is the most I've seen this guy get into controversy, and it wasn't like that during the Dead Space 1 days. Like, I just think that it's a big giant amalgamation of people not reading and the social media sort of media literacy going on, or illiteracy, where people just can't read for shit and can't interpret shit. And not only that, they want to just hop on the next person because, you know, dogpiling that developer, it makes them feel good. You know what I mean? Let's not lie. Like, there are some naughty gamers out there who like to dogpile other people and developers, even if the fucking thing is a whole lie, just because it makes them feel good. We saw that with Helena Taylor. Everyone just took her side, me included. Like, at first I was like, that sweet face, maybe she's right, so you know what I mean, I'm gonna give her the benefit of the doubt. Then it turns out, nope, it's a lie. You know what I mean? And some people were confused, they were off the track, or they stuck with the lie, which baffled the fuck out of me. Like, to me personally, there's no issue with paying for expansions if the content is really that good. So new death animations are par for the course for new monsters. And personally speaking, I've never seen people have this problem in the past. I just think people want to hop on that train of just always being angry and bitching just a bitch. When they don't have all the details, all the facts, they just choose not to read. I paid like for the Ghost of Tsushima Iki Island expansion, and while I haven't gotten around to it yet, I'm sure there's going to be new enemies. I'm sure there's going to be new places to go in that expansion that you can't find in the main campaign. Maybe you can, maybe there will be some flashbacks, you never know, flash forwards, but that whole island is supposedly new. And if it's new and they put effort into the previous established gameplay that works, there's no issue. It's just going to be another good game. Same for standalone content. I do remember people had that misconception about standalone content for Spider-Man Miles Morales, and the confusion with that saying, oh, is it big enough to warrant a full release? It's just DLC, right? You know what I mean? Even that is like they put in work and effort to make Miles Morales play and feel different. He has like the bioelectric that he can hit people with. He can go invisible. Peter Parker can't do that shit. You know what I mean? And now they're putting both of these characters into the sequel to double the gameplay opportunity. So again, it's a lot of misconceptions and misconcepted terms here that I just don't understand how people are so confused by it. I find it weird that people are also like, once they were wrong, once they were corrected and everything, they decided to look at the new difficulty placed in Callisto Protocol that you could only pay for and say, oh, well, I was wrong about that, but that's bad over there. It's like, okay, in my opinion, that's nothing new. You know, we've paid for higher difficulties before, for relatively cheap. I remember playing, well, not playing, but paying for The Last of Us Grounded originally before they decided to make it free. I know at one point they just made it free for one of The Last of Us's, like for part 1, and then I'm not sure if it was remastered. I know for part 1 definitely it's free, but I know that on PS3 you had to pay for it as an add-on. I'm not sure if it was free for remaster. I think it was. I think Grounded was free for The Last of Us Remastered, and then for part 1 obviously is free. And then I think there's permadeath, and then for part 2 it's also free. So it came later as a free update, but it was a difficulty that you had to pay for. And I thought, you know, even that was okay. A little microtransaction, whatever the fuck, right? Like, people, they are so against micros, but they spend so much on micros themselves. And expansions is just like a bigger piece of the puzzle. If you don't want it and you think it's egregious, that's fine. But I think if they put in the effort for a story DLC, then that's totally cool. Like you're getting something different to the pile after completing that game, and you just want to support the dev. That's it. You're not wrong for not doing so or doing so. Like it's totally a non-issue when we look at it at the end of the day. For difficulty and paying for that, again, it's happened before. It's not the first time. It won't be the last. I'm sorry to burst your bubble there for Callisto. More people are gonna do it, and to that end, I just say, hey, if you want more of the game, go for it. If you don't, and you think you're done and you're ready to move on, then you don't have to pay a single red cent. That's kind of how that works. I just don't think that people realize that they have as much consumer power as they think they do when it comes to how they get games. Like, you know, and no one's dumb if they want to get it. I think if I want something that challenges me to the end of time, and I want it to kick my ass, and I want it to be something that's a hill of adversity I need to climb over and get past, I will buy it. Like, because once again, if I like as much of that game as humanly possible, I'm gonna want the most out of that. This is why I bought the deluxe, because I'm like, I want it all, man. I need it all. I'm very excited for this release. I'm so glad that sci-fi horror is actually back, and I'm excited for Dead Space, and I don't feel the need to. I know what's gonna happen next. I think people are going to make a rivalry out of the two. Oh, was better, this and that and the third, and I guess it makes more sense than Last of Us and Ghost of Tsushima, because at least these games are in the equal ballpark in terms of thematic. You could say, like, you know, Dead Space is sci-fi horror, Callisto Protocol is sci-fi horror. You know, we have the dodge buttons in play, we have the atmosphere in play, we have Isaac talking now, so there's going to be that compare and contrast there. Either way, I'm going to end the video now before I, you know, go off the rails and start like rambling. People, read more. Do not fall for clickbait. Read the entire article from start to finish. Get someone in a video to at least describe it, open up the context, do something instead of just, hey, IGN went with this entire clickbait article, I'm going to believe it, and it's going to affect the main game, when Glenn said long ago that this game was going to have story DLC. You need to pay attention. Anyway, I'm Renegade Operative. I'm signing off. I just had to talk about this because it was on my mind and I had to get it off my chest as to how stupid it was. So once again, if you enjoyed this video, please comment, like, subscribe, tell me what you think in the comments below, and I will get back to you at my earliest convenience. Thank you very much. Take care, and I will see you guys next time. Later.